Christian Lawrence, Mike, and Hilary. So yeah, we can start.
Okay. Sound check. Hope you
Yes,
can hear me
I can hear
clearly.
you. Yeah.
All right, cool. So just want to turn on my microphone. Sorry, my camera, just in case you guys haven't seen my face before. You can see me. There you go. Hope it's clear enough.
Yeah, it's okay. We can see you.
All right, cool. So thank you, Nancy and Shihaks, for having us. So my name is Michael Likua. I'm one of the co-founders for BSides Nairobi conference and collective. And I'm just a security professional in Nairobi. That's why we decided to do this. And thank you so much. So I'll let my other friends introduce themselves.
Thank you so much, Michael. Mic check from my end. Yeah, I think I'm visible now. Apologies, still in the office, so if my camera quality is bad, I'll work to fix on it. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you can hear you.
Yes,
Awesome.
yeah.
So, my name is Lawrence. I'm Chilwa, part of one of the co-founders here of BSides Nairobi, located. Well, I was about to say located in Nairobi, but then that's a repetition. But I'm based in Nairobi. I'm a cybersecurity operations center manager, at least formally, though my interests are mainly focused in threat intelligence and digital forensics and incident response. It's an honor to be here and looking forward to engaging more with everyone who has created that time to join and be part of this. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Audio test. Mic check 1 2.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sawa. I'm sorry I'm not in the house. I was a bit caught off guard kidogo. Hilary Soita, part of the co-founders. By profession, I'm an application security analyst, diversing as an engineer right now. Day-to-day duties include breaking applications and fixing applications and creating secure pipelines for people to use. Yeah, so I'm happy to be part of BSides and I'm really looking forward to this journey with my co-founders as well. Yeah, that's my intro.
Thank you so much. It's so nice. We've heard from you and we've also seen you guys. So I think during the event we won't miss you. So maybe there was maybe a concern or a question. One, someone asked, when will the next CTF be? And is this will this be an annual event? Like, how often is the BSides conference or CTF going to happen? So those are some of the questions that I got. Also, I think this one, I don't know if I think I'll give it to you guys to answer about having access to the platform, the Cyber Ranges platform. Also, oh yeah, I know most students who will attend the conference, the BSides conference that's going to happen on the 16th and 17th at USIU. They are on call, even professionals. Some are watching us from YouTube. So I just wanted maybe you would shed more light on that as well.
Maybe I can start then. My other co-founders should free to. They'll definitely chip in. So, Nancy, if you allow me just to take guys back to our origin story. So the idea of a BSides, I think it's been in the making for what? I'll say 3 years or so. So it's been a whole process. So the interesting story here is for guys who are interested. And so one thing I failed and I didn't mention was that I at times get carried away whenever I'm talking about things I'm very passionate about. So BSides is one of those things that I'm very, very passionate about. So some time back, for guys who might not be, I think my camera quality is not that best, might put it off. Mic looks better. So it can be the face of BSides and take one for the team. So BSides is a global organization. So a lot of countries, especially in the developed world, have their own BSides. And some of these BSides are actually pretty big. We had a lot of us, my co-founders and I, had a lot about BSides. We loved what it stood for. So that whole aspect of this was a community event by the community for the community. That resonated very well with us. So at that particular time, I think this is 3, maybe 4 years ago, Mike and Hillary, we hadn't physically met. We knew each other mostly by a reputation based on what each one of us was doing. So I reached out to Jack Daniels. So Jack Daniels, we can think of him as the grandfather of BSides. So he takes care, him and the team ensures that everything in BSides is working as expected. So the first time I reached out to him was actually to volunteer for the global BSides. So I reached out to him, told him I loved what BSides was all about, and if he had any areas for volunteering, being just helping, paying forward, I was more than willing to create some time and help the cause. So that happened. So during that whole process, I started understanding more about BSides from basically volunteering. Then it hit me, why can't we have a Nairobi BSides? Because I think at that time there are only two main two main cybersecurity events in Nairobi for the community. The biggest one was Africa Hackon. Then we had SheHacks, which was doing a lot of traction. Then apart from that, those you basically had those two options. So I reached out to him, asked him what are the requirements, modalities for setting up a BSides. Then he told me that we already had someone in Nairobi who had reached out first. So the way BSide works is that the first person to reach out more or less gets to direct that conversation. There are definitely checks and controls to ensure no one is abusing that process. So I reached out to the initial guy who had made the request to have BSides Nairobi. He's a well-known guy. I discussed with him, told him my interest. But fortunately or unfortunately, our interaction didn't make a lot of headway and became one of those things that basically was almost buried. Then I think a year ago, or maybe Mike and Hillary can correct me, I get an inbox from Jack in regards to BSides Nairobi. Then basically tells me that we have other guys who are trying to set this up. Can you guys agree on something, given that the initial discussions we were having had not really made headway? Now, Mike and I and Hillary, we already knew each other. So for me, that was like heavenly. We quickly jumped onto that discussion, made a few calls here and there, exchanged numbers, and BSides Nairobi actually was formed. A fun fact, I think a lot of the agreements we came up with are probably in a text file somewhere, should be more or less 10 lines. that actually govern how we are currently running. Now, this is not to say that we don't have a robust processes from a governance point of view, but just to share that whenever, if a group of people meet and you are committed on a cause, you are really passionate about what you want to do, then virtually nothing can stop you in that regard. And that also, your passion, your love for the community can be infectious, and you have a wider community, more members within the community actually willing and ready to chip in and help you. So that's basically how BSides started. Don't know if Hillary and Mike, you want to share your origin story? I think Hillary did a good job during the the cyber challenge.
Remind me what I did. I don't know what I did. Mama, did you mean like introducing the BSides Nairobi?
Yes. When you did your version of BSides Nairobi origin story, because you and Mike had a discussion before. You had a discussion with me.
Oh yeah. So I think you've literally spoken about almost everything. But from my side, the thing I'll say is I never knew who Lawrence was. Okay, I knew who Lawrence was online, but I've never met the guy. So always seeing a profile photo of Lawrence on a bike with all the helmets and all those gloves. So I knew he's a biker, but I never actually met him. So me and Mike, one day we were just talking online and we were like, yo, you guys, and you guy, my guy. So there's Africa Hackon, there's She Hacks. Why isn't there BSides Nairobi? And there's BSides Cairo, there's BSides for literally for every other part, Indonesia and all. And there's no BSides Nairobi. See, we start this thing. It wasn't even a discussion like for maybe that took months. It was literally a discussion that took minutes. And we were like, okay, sawa, we think this is a good idea. And we should just jump with it. So we did some research and noticed there's a guy called, we reached out to Jack, and Jack Daniels, not the drink, the actual person. And he told us there's another guy called Tyrus Kamau, who was on board with the BSides Nairobi thing. So we reached out to him. He did not get back at that moment. Probably he was a bit busy or something. But Jack told us, you guys, see, all of you guys are in Nairobi, so you can just start it and maybe just maybe merge your brains along the way. So we're like, okay. So me, Mike, and Lawrence just decided to move ahead with it and just see where this whole thing goes. So far, we're the 3 co-founders so far because we've already registered it. And that's how it started. Literally less than 5 minutes, we went online and contacted Lawrence. Me, I had never met Lawrence, met him a couple of months back. And so far, he's a really great guy. Really grateful to have met him. Mike is also a really amazing guy. And that's my side. If I've left something, I'm very sure Michael will touch on it.
Okay, so on my end, I think most of the origin story has been covered pretty well. What I think we can take away from that story is that starting a community is typically very easy to brainstorm and come up with your friends. You can, let's say, for example, you want to be in a collective space where you have like-minded individuals who are discussing the same interest as you. It's very easy to, let's say, find like-minded people. So the only problem is how can we make it extended to more people, because from when I started joining these communities back in campus where we were doing developer groups, they really help a lot of people with their, let's say, anxiety to meet like-minded people, because it's not easy to just cold start a conversation with someone who you think is really interesting or has the same kind of goals as you. So for me, this was actually one of the main reasons why I wanted to also expand this community-like engagement with BSides Nairobi, due to the values it has, what you can learn, because we can break Nairobi out of the African continent and we make it global community, whereby we can bring the, let's say, for me, my vision was we can bring the DEFCON and the Black Hat feel to Nairobi, where we can say, okay, using the networks that BSides Security BSides Global has, we are easily in a position to get more, let's say, learn from more global people, because I think in the past few years, there's been a great job between SheHacks, Africa Hackon, but now we wanted to at least let's keep pushing the train, push the boundaries. Let's see how big our community can grow, and also right now in this current global kind of economy where you can work from anywhere, network with many different people, as has happened for us in the last month of planning BSides, where Tracy really came through with a helping hand in our organization of the event. So it really shows us how much you can stretch the community boundaries within this kind of engagements. So yeah, Tracy, hi. Just to say a thank you to you.
Hi. How are you doing? Yeah, no, it was my pleasure, and I'm happy to help. And sorry, I can't seem to turn my video on right now. But anyway, yeah, no,
okay.
It was my pleasure. And again, I apologize for kind of heaping that upon you without checking first. It was just good intentions, but I'm glad it all worked out in the end. And yeah, please let me know what else I can do to help round up speakers from around the world. A lot of us are happy to speak remotely. But yeah, I'm happy to be your U.S. ambassador for for BSides Nairobi and the Nairobi InfoSec community. I'm already doing a lot of mentoring and other work in other parts of Africa, so I just want to kind of bring you into my African family of of mentees and groups that I help and support, and just provide support to, because I want to see you all blossom and grow and become the global superpower in InfoSec that I know Africa can be.
Yeah, thank you so much. So to close off, before I switch off, to give Lawrence a chance to continue with the conversation, to answer the questions that Nancy raised early on. So we are actually going to have this as a global event. I mean, sorry, not global, but annual event. Sorry. So yeah, if you are asking about having a CTF come again, so if you enjoyed the first one, I know it was quite challenging. So I hope we learned a lot through the follow-up walkthroughs with SheHacks. And yeah, so we are definitely going to have this happening every year, as long as we have the strength to do it. Yeah, so Lawrence, I think you can maybe go ahead and talk about other plans for the annual event and so on.
I'm just going to storytell. So Mike said, I think one of the core things that drove him and I'll say motivated him towards BSides, and I think probably Hillary will jump in. For all of us, everyone here, we identified things in the community that for us were avenues for value addition. So for my case, I joined that all InfoSec space in 2015. That's when I was doing after clearing my campus. So I knew I needed an interest. I had an interest in InfoSec, but being in a university that was in a rural area, most of it were just basically dreams and wishes. Now I'm also part of that class of guys who came to Nairobi to work. For guys who are not maybe Tracy and someone who might not have that context. So in Kenya, we have people who have been born in Nairobi. They may be or maybe not the privileged few or the privileged many. Then we have some of us like me who came to Nairobi to look for work and might have fallen in love with the space. So not being a Nairobi native also meant that my circle, my network was very limited. And at that time, and with all honesty, I think it's an issue in the community where majority or the tech community at times can feel very elite. So you have cliques of people, and if you don't belong in that clique, if people don't know you, even if I go to conference A, there is a high probability I will be alone because I don't belong to any clique. I don't belong to that club. So for me was one of the main motivator was can we come up with a conference that is very, very inclusive, where you don't have to know anyone. Go to that conference and you'll be able to make very meaningful connection and actually feel part of a community. And it's something my co-founders have happily supported, and just trying to ensure that BSide is just not another conference. It is a conference. It is actually a community where you can actually feel you are part of it and make some meaningful connection from it. One of there was a conference I think in the US called DerbyCon. So it was one of those conferences I actually wanted to attend because everything I read about DerbyCon was this amazing community of people who know each other. So you go to that conference not because you want to know that technical aspect of it, but you want to meet your friends. So for me, it will be really good if BSides can be that community where when we have our conferences, when you have our cyber challenges, when you have the main conference, which will be annual, in addition to coming to listen to what the community is working on, you're also coming to meet friends. You're also coming to network with people. And for those of us who might have some introvert tendencies, it should be a safe space where you know that for guys who are already established in the community, because of course we have people who are way more established in the community. Maybe I know for a fact Mike is, Hillary is, I'm working towards, I'm on that road. The aim for us was if you come to BSides, you should be able to come to me and know that I'm available to you and we can have a meaningful discussion, not the other way around where you're going to this conference, you know Lawrence will be there, but Lawrence is not going to talk to you because you're not part of that elite club or that clique of guys who are doing A, B, C, and D. So BSides is actually meant to be a community where guys know each other and guys can form very meaningful connection. So in a nutshell, that is BSides what you're trying to work on, what you're trying to stand for. Nancy, any other questions so that I just don't talk. Like I'm happy to do it if you don't mind.
No, I actually don't mind. But maybe I'll just highlight maybe another question that I got around the conference. Like, what will the conference actually entail, like for the 2 days?
Awesome. So let's first of all start with the cyber challenge. So the co-founders here, we are privileged enough to have a formal employment. So for example, I know in the course of the last 5 years, I've done a lot of hiring. And we wanted to come up with a challenge that will help people know, anticipate what they get when what you basically run into in a standard enterprise environment. That's why in our cyber challenge 1, we didn't necessarily have the traditional flags. We are actually giving you a full-blown enterprise hosted on cyber ranges, where you actually had to enumerate, get those vulnerabilities, exploit them. So you are just not hacking for the sake of getting flags, which I know even from the feedback we get from everywhere, CTFs are not meant for everyone. We have a set of people who actually want to do enumeration, exploit those vulnerabilities, get initial foothold. So our cyber challenges are meant for that. Now, another differentiator we introduced was for most challenges, like I'm heavily blue team oriented. A lot of guys, you don't get experience to play with blue team tools. So tools like SIMS, threat hunting tools. So in this case, we are working with open source tools like the Elf stack. I know we were doing tools like Velociraptor, Akimi, and all that. So our cyber challenge was actually meant to to give you a holistic view and feel of a challenge. To ensure this worked, we were very deliberate to make it team-based, just to also reinforce that mentality that if you really want to make it in cybersecurity, you need to work as a team. You are better off working as a team, and you are telling all the team captains that ensure your team you have someone who can do both defensive and offensive security. So someone who can compromise, do those enumeration, and someone who can do log analysis from a SOC point of view. And one thing I'm very proud of is we also had physical security. Now, as much as it was very, look, if you compare the physical security challenges, conferences like Black Hat Hava, DevCon, the other BSides, guys that have a whole lock picking set. But for us, we basically had some very cheap padlocks, and it was very, very interesting and inspiring seeing a lot of guys actually interested in being able to pick locks using safety pins. I think for me that was one of the, don't want to say achievement, it was very impressive. The other thing we really liked about this was the turn up we got from the ladies in the community, especially for the physical security. Actually turns out ladies know how to pop locks faster, more cleanly than the gentlemen that we had. So we have the CTF, the cyber challenge, which, as I've mentioned, and we also we actually had governance, risk, and compliance questions. You don't really get to see all of that in a single cyber challenge, and I'll be doing this service if I didn't acknowledge the help assistance we got from the Microsoft ADC, so Microsoft African Development Center, which is actually in Nairobi. They gave us the physical space. They also fed us. And this just goes back to the community. You see, Hillary mentioned that for BSides, a lot of this was happened over calls. Same thing with the ADC giving us, that's basically sponsoring our cyber challenge. It was someone from the community who saw what you are doing. We were mutual friends. We talked to them, told them, okay, this is what we have. And they were more than willing to actually come in, told us, look, don't worry. Microsoft, the ADC will be able to come in and help you with this. So moving to the conference. So we have the conference on this month from the 16th to the 17th. So the 16th is going to be the career day. So the career day, we are bringing in a industry subject matter expert, and I'm going to name drop some names here. Now, if you haven't bought your ticket, please buy that ticket. And just to, in the interest of transparency, so the amount you have on the ticket is to cater for food for day 2. So for day 1, we are not really availing fodder because we are really trying to keep the budget low just to ensure a lot of guys can afford the ticket. So day 2, the ticket allows you to come in for both day 1 and day 2. On day 2, we are giving you the t-shirts and food. You can still pick your swag on day 1. Then also the tags and just offsetting a few logistics here and there. So that's what that 1,900 more or less bob is facilitating. Now for day 1, if any one of us here is interested to know what job opportunities, cybersecurity job opportunities are within the Kenyan government, I know we have our communication authority who just confirmed to us that they would like to share with the community what the government is working on. So as for those who might not know, the communication authority is the regulator for technically anything to do with the IT. I know the Microsoft recruitment team have shown a lot of interest to also come on day 1. So they will be sharing, I'm hoping they will be sharing on career tips, maybe interview tips on how to join their teams here at the ADC. So you don't want to miss that out. Then it's not all about cybersecurity. For guys who are still maybe developers, general IT, we also have some guys who are doing amazing things, who are also just coming in to share the experience. When I sit back at times, there are a lot of things I probably will be doing different if I'd known people to listen to, people to keep tabs on. Now we have those guys telling us, look guys, we want to share the mistakes we have done. We want to share our success stories so that we might help someone maybe make a better decision. We might help someone know that the additional opportunities they can take advantage of within the community. So for guys in their final year, for students still in university, you don't want to miss this out. We also have the CTO of Liquid Telecom. I think his name is Andrew. Brilliant mind. He's done amazing work with the ITF. I think he's also a regional director when it comes to routing. The guys who actually determine how the internet works. He's willing to come share his experience, both what he's doing with the ITF, what he's doing with his own team. One of the discussions I had with Andrew, so Andrew keeps saying that he's looking for a very specific skill set of people and he can't find them. Now, given that he can't find them, he's willing to pay whatever it takes to get those people. So if you're looking for a job, I can guarantee you Andrew is one of those people you want to know, you want him to be aware of your capabilities. You never know, he might actually give you a job, and he's a very good guy. So day 1 is all about career development, as working with the community, bringing in all these people. Nancy will also be there. So for guys who just want to maybe pick his mind, how do you do what you have done? Because I believe, in all honesty, Nancy is also a trailblazer in her own right. So what makes her rock? What makes her achieve all these things she has achieved? Day 1 is all about us making these amazing minds available to the community, including us, the co-founders. We also need to take a step back and learn from guys who are doing a way better job. Then for day 2 will be on a Saturday. It will be mostly be a technical, a mix of technical and non-technical presentation. I believe for day 2, we have the schedule on our site. Now, we'll cover topics from governance, risk and compliance to technical topics. for guys who might be following a few of the co-founders or a few guys in the Kenyan space when it comes to information security, for day 2, we are working to get someone talk to us about physical security, specifically for Flipper Zero. So for guys who might not know what Flipper Zero is, it's an awesome device that is able to manipulate radio signals. It has bad USB capabilities. So we have someone in the community who is willing to just share with the community. If you're not really interested in traditional offensive security, in this case means application vulnerability scanning, penetration testing, and you're more geared towards radio, software defined radio, you want to listen to what he's doing, the capabilities that you can use tools like Flipper Zero just to have a different context, to help you know that cybersecurity is way more bigger and not just limited to the traditional topics that we are used to. Now, lastly, majority of us know that we called for sponsorship and the community actually did. I think I'm still in a state of disbelief, but I'll progressively accept that. So we got some funds, and what you have done so far is Mike will share the specifics. I know he's leading this, but I know what he's been working on is that, as we said, BSides is a community event. So from the funds we got, we had a set number of slots, and these slots, we have shared these slots with SHIAX Kenya. We have shared these slots with Cyber Shujaa. We have shared these slots with Kamilimu, or will be sharing these slots with them. Who am I missing? We have shared some of these slots with WUSEC, that is Women in Security, the chapter in Kenya. Share these slots with Africa Hackon. Share these slots with the Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensic Association. So we are reaching out to them and telling them that, look, guys, we don't know everyone, but you probably know people who might actually be deserving. So pick whoever you want to pick, give us their names, and the community is helping sponsor that. Now, in addition to that, one other thing we're actually doing is that I mentioned that I came from a rural university. So it's in Western. A lot of tech conversation are happening in Nairobi. So one of the things Mike and I, basically all the co-founders we are working on, is supporting guys from those universities. So what we actually want to do is we want to pick someone from, example, Moi University. Tell this guy, okay, for you to come from Eldoret to Nairobi, you're a student, it's going to cost you maybe 3,000 shillings. That is more or less 30 USD. We'll pay for your bus. We wish you could afford flights, but we work with what we have. So we'll pay for your bus fare to come to Nairobi and go back to the university. We'll also pay for your day 1 and day 2 ticket. This is just to ensure that these guys who might be in those more or less universities that don't typically get access to such opportunities, we also want to support them and ensure they know that this is the power of the community. If you're in a privileged position to make a change, use that. And given the help you have gotten from the community, we are doing such kind of sponsorship. So just to repeat, for this sponsorship, in addition to paying for their tickets for day 1 and day 2, we are actually working on offsetting their logistical needs to travel from one end of Kenya to the central point of Kenya, that is Nairobi, attend the conference, and go back. So those are some of the things that we are working on. If you feel you are deserving, I know we have received a few names here and there. Please reach out. You can DM our Twitter handle or reach out directly to any of our co-founders, and we'll be able to advise you on this. Now, before I forget, we also have BSides Mombasa. So BSides Mombasa were actually the forerunners for BSides in Nairobi, in actually Kenya. So I definitely have to acknowledge them. And we have also extended these invites to them. Actually, for our cyber challenge, they actually had someone represent them all the way and come to Nairobi. This just to show the power of a community, and I think how the community really wants to see that change and ensure it's organic and everyone is growing. Mike, I don't know if there's anything I've missed in regards to the conference and the sponsorship work you are working on.
No, I think you've covered everything pretty well. So we received a lot of applications. So we are hoping that by the time we finish combing through them and considering guys for the sponsorship, we'll be able to now allow them to attend the event stress-free. So yeah, nothing much to add on that aside from look out for our communication. I might be the one calling you or possibly send an email. I've reached out to a few guys, so communication is still ongoing. Yeah. Back to you,
Okay.
Lawrence and Nancy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Before maybe I ask the next question, maybe Hillary, if you have something to add, I don't close you.
I was thinking if it's worth mentioning the fact that
Okay.
the community has been really supportive, like really, really supportive. Mike, I think you can attest to the fact that so many people have contributed to this thing. It's not a solo goal for us as the co-founders. Like so many people, not only from Kenya but from abroad as well. So many people have been with us throughout this journey. And what was the figure? It was roughly.
Yeah, so we hit just over 320K.
Yes.
So I think maybe around 2,900 USD. I don't know the numbers in USD. So
yeah, around 2,800 and something.
Yeah.
And
so
that is really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just to add on the fact that we're not alone, and it's totally non-profit, and everyone everywhere understands that, and that's why people have been really supportive in this whole journey. So just to echo that out, the community is really helpful, and this is also a community-driven event.
Is there still money coming in, or are you still collecting? Do you want me to do another boost on Twitter, or what else can I do to help with the fundraising?
I think at this point we are comfortable with where we are at. So the only challenge is if we get more funds, we don't have enough slots. So unfortunately, the venue we booked is a bit limited on space. I wish we would have anticipated such a support. We would have gotten a bigger audience and a bigger venue and used it for use the sponsorship stuff to get more and more people to.
Well, you can use it next year. You know, create a sense of urgency and fear of missing out, and then I can have a select crew this year. But yeah, no, that's great. That sounds like a great foundation. That I'm just so thrilled for you all. Yeah, I received a lot of direct messages from folks just really willing to help and really excited that you're all having your first BSides. And yeah, the community is really going to be supportive. So yeah, if you do need some remote speakers like physical security or whatever, yeah, I can definitely reach out to some folks and make that happen. I can't help with anybody on the ground necessarily, but I know that if there's remote possibilities, I can definitely round up some speakers for you. So just let me know how I can help.
Perfect, thank you. I think we'll definitely take up your offer next year. So we'll do the planning well in advance. I think this time we had like a cushion of around 3-4 months. So once we open the planning for next year, we definitely request more support early on, and then we'll have the capability to include a huge number of attendees.
Great, and I hope to be there and join you.
Yeah, hope so as well. Thank you.
So fun fact. So I think when we were working with Mike and Hillary, just trying to figure out the logistics, I think for us, we knew at one point we were actually going to have to take loans of Fuliza here and there, just to ensure that the event was a success. So I think that just also speaks to the commitment, and I'm actually very honored to have these guys. Everyone had here. Most think the three of us, we have our own families, obligations. So committing to an event and say, okay, if push comes to shove, okay, we'll probably take a loan here and there. Then hopefully we have enough ticket sales to recover this. But as always, the community came in. Just one thing I wanted to add for anyone. I see a lot of guys here who are doing a lot of public work on Twitter, sharing knowledge. Please continue. So from my experience, day one was actually, so for day one, if we had enough time, enough room, I'm not really sure we'll ever have that. But day one was actually inspired by career clinics that are offered by, I think she'll be Leslie Kahat and a lady called MS Bat. I can't recall her full name. So that those two amazing ladies actually helped us identify that it's not all about, it's good for guys to have technical skills, but it's also good to help people know how to get hired. So if they were not doing what they are doing, we probably won't be having our day one. A lot of additional things we're actually putting in has been via what the community is putting out there. So for these particular walkthroughs, our cyber challenge creators were more than willing to volunteer their time. And how did we identify them? We had the CTF team like freaks. We identified them, became aware of each other through our knowledge sharing, through our content sharing, and sharing this publicly out to the community. So you might not know that it might seem futile, you resharing things on Twitter, sharing links on WhatsApp, 90% people not liking, retweeting, or even acknowledging. But I can assure you that a lot of people are reading those content, and it's influencing people and changing that narrative. So please continue sharing content and helping the community grow. You never know who or what person somewhere else is actually having their life turned around because of something you shared or a trick you posted online that has helped them fix a solution leading to a promotion or help close an issue that has been bugging them. And Nancy, back to you.
Okay, sorry. I think I'll now read the questions. Let me go through the questions in the chat. Okay, let me see. Well, actually, there was a question. I don't know. Lawrence, I think I'll nitakuweka kwa hotspot with this one about accessing the challenges, because we have the videos on our YouTube page. So someone was asking about accessing cyber ranges.
So for accessing cyber ranges, so one, it is a paid product. So, yes, during the cyber challenge, and even when you have had the walkthroughs, they have been more or less gracious enough to avail that to us without charging us. Now, if you want to access it individually, at the moment, I know that the platform will be rolling out subscription. So best advice, we wait for those subscription. If they will be affordable, that will be one angle. Now, from a long-term point of view, what you are looking at is to have, I'll call more or less MOUs with certain vendors, so that if BSides is hosting an event, we get discounted pricing. So it might be hard for Cyber Rangers to give you a 50% discount for you to access some of these platforms. However, via BSides, it's easier for us to approach them, and it's something we have done for both the Cyber Challenge and even the walkthrough, and tell Cyber Rangers, look, you guys are doing a lot for the community. Why don't you give us 10 slots on the range for a specific duration, so that the community can also utilize the platform. That discussions is ongoing. So my suggestion will be here for anyone interested in that. When we have these cross-community collaborations with, for example, SheHacks, BSides Mombasa, take advantage of that, because those collaborations allow us to get premium resources that as an individual you might not be able to get. So that will be the easiest way for you to access some of those challenges without paying a lot. So for example, for the Cyber Challenger, you are basically not paying anything. Instead of Cyber Rangers team giving us 100 slots, they were giving us 10 free slots. And we broadcast these slots. So the first people to join in, you have yourself 10 slots. But you're also in collaboration with the Cyber Rangers community team to see how best they can also just come in and just ensure that they reduce that ceiling for the local community, just not only in Nairobi, but at least for a start in Kenya, to make it easier for guys to access such resources. And Nancy, I hope that answers you.
Yes. Okay, I'm just going through the questions from my side, some from my DM. I think that one, the next one, thank you for answering that. I think I would have answered it totally different. So I'm really glad you took it up. There was a question, I think this is the third one I've seen, people asking if you're going to live stream the conference, but I can see Mike has replied on the chat that the sessions, you will record the sessions and they'll be available post-event. Maybe unless either of you has a comment around that. Because I've gotten that, I think.
So for anyone, if you didn't get a chance to meet, and apologies, I'm name dropping names here, even without consent. But I think people who interact with me know that I can be shameless at times, especially when for things I'm really interested in. So if you have never met Hackersploit, so Hackersploit has more or less agreed to help us record this event and show it's a quality event, and he's a very amazing guy. So if you actually want to meet him, especially if you didn't meet him during the Cyber Challenge, he was there for around 30-40 minutes. So for day 2, maybe day 1, you really want to be there. He actually might be there, and you actually get to interact with one of the best content creators we have locally. Pick his mind. If you want to stream, if you want to take that line, it's an opportunity for you to actually meet him, interact with him. You never know where that might lead to. Anasi, back to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, Tracy, thank you so much for joining in. We really appreciate the SheHacks as BSides. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I know it's daytime on that end. So I don't know if there are any other questions, because I think I've exhausted the ones I had from my side. Let me go through the chat. I don't see any question. Students are still asking how they can get access to the support, how they can still apply for, the sponsorship. Maybe you can comment on that.
Yeah, I can answer this one. So we closed the submissions for the sponsorships simply because of how many responses we got, and even after the extension a bit, so the at the moment we're not accepting any more requests. So hopefully they can tune in and follow us in our various activities that we're trying to work on, with collaboration with SheHacks and so on. Yeah. And then I think for me, I'll also maybe share a question to the community with regards to feedback with how much fun they had with a few events, and also maybe what are you hoping to experience during the BSides conference that you think would be beneficial to you. And this way we can anticipate some improvements in our planning. But I think our lineup of talks and sessions will be good to go. But if you have some good, let's say, requests or suggestions, I know I see some of our volunteers in the chat. You'll get to meet them during the event. So if you have some, let's say, recommendations for improving, let's say you want a better experience, let us know. As you said, this is a community event and will not happen if the community doesn't show up for it. So we're here to ensure we have a good experience. Yeah. So you can drop us a DM, reach out to any of the co-founders' DMs. I think I'm hoping their DMs are open. If you are in similar groups, you've seen my face somewhere, you can feel free to send me a message. Yeah.
I
So,
think that just on top of what Mike has mentioned, I know informally, and this is Moshene, or what's called Umbea. I know we have guys in the community that have bought tickets for BSides. Like I know a guy who has bought 5 tickets, and he'll be donating that to the community. So of course, if they do that, you're going to retweet them. So just keep tabs on the BSides Twitter handle, maybe SheHacks, basically the communities we have in Kenya. Not really, well, I'm not at liberty to say who that is, but I know we have guys who have actually bought multiple tickets, and they will be donating them to the community as we go for the event. The other option I know is that we also have guys who are willing to match funds. So for example, I know personally I have someone who was only able to raise 1,000 bob. Believe they are student, and someone is willing to top up that remaining amount for them. So it's a community event. You can broadcast. How we got our funding was our social media team actually telling people, if you can donate, please donate. So if you want to attend BSides and you are stuck, Twitter times does magic. Just tweet tag BSides team. Broadcast out there that I would like to attend this event. I can only raise X amount. Can I get someone who can help me do this? Feel free to tag me, and we will amplify your tweet. And who knows, someone out there might be willing to actually top up your amount to ensure you actually get to interact and be part of the conference in a few weeks' time.
okay. Thank you, Mike and Lawrence, for that clarification. So I do have like one more question just in my chat. Let me check. Someone has asked, are there opportunities for non-students who are unemployed? Most focus I see being posted are for students. So someone who's not a student, maybe a graduate, and they're not employed. So they're trying to maybe understand, is there an opportunity for them during this event, the conference, I mean.
Is this with regards to the sponsorship?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Can you sponsor someone maybe who's not a student but would want to attend?
Yeah. So from the list we got, so the form, there are a few that who are not students that we feel might benefit also from the sessions. So yeah. So if you are if you submitted your application, then hopefully you'll be selected. But we're not limiting the selection to only students. So of course the majority will be students, but a number of them will definitely be some newly graduated students or newly employed professionals or not yet employed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope that answers the question. So at
Nancy,
this point, yes.
so just to echo what Mike has said. So look,
Okay.
BSides it's not completely. We don't want it to be a student affair. We are actually a huge percentage of guys we actually want to target are guys who have just cleared campus and you're in that phase of looking for job or you have just started work. So if Micah said you don't have to be a student as long as you're interested in this field, in cybersecurity or IT security, if you're already practicing in it, this is a community that you should be part of, and this community still needs you. So it's just not a student affair. It's for anyone and everyone who is interested in IT security.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I actually I can see some professionals in the call. Feel free to buy a few more tickets, maybe to support those who are not able to get these tickets. Also, maybe the last thing that the last request is maybe you can share your social media handles so that anyone who has a concern maybe reach out to you, or maybe the BSides page. Well, whichever works, because there's a request that someone would want to reach out to you.
Yeah, so I think we can post this out on the BSides page. I think also Shihaks has done a good job at posting our social accounts. So I think each one of us will just write it in chat for those who haven't seen it. And then if you get any challenge, the easiest way is the BSides account. The messages will reach everyone. So just chat our BSides. It's the easiest mode of communication with anything BSides related. But if you want to reach out directly, we're posting our handles on chat.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't see any other questions, so I think we'll just come to the end of this session. But thank you so much, Mike,
Hey,
Hilary. Yes.
Nancy, before we come to a close, now a lot of guys might not be aware of this. A few might be aware of this. In the next couple of months, so October, September, October. Okay, so October is generally the Cyber Awareness Month. I know we have two main cybersecurity events that will be happening. Now, one of it I'm not at liberty to disclose, but I'll say you guys want to, if you're not following the Cyberspace Kenya page, and there's an amazing gentleman called Jones Baraza. If you're not following them up on Twitter, on their socials, please do. I was privileged to see what they are cooking, what they are working on, and it's going to be amazing. So whenever that happens, You heard it from us. So why am I sharing this? This is just to promote that spirit of the community, telling guys that, look, the information security community is working on a lot of amazing things. Twitter has generally been that medium of sharing this information. Now, initially, following everyone on Twitter can be a challenge, but I'm telling you, you want to follow Cyberspace Kenya. And of course, the usual culprits are SheHacks, Africa Hackon, BSides, OSEC, just for you to be aware of what community events are happening. Just not only in Nairobi, because I also know right now a lot of the community in Kenya, we are trying to reach out to places out of Nairobi. Like, who knows? Our friends, our brothers and sisters are in Mulot. They might be able to teach us a few things about what they're infamously known for from a defensive point of view. You know, for you to do good protection, you actually need to know how the attackers are working. So ensure you're following those socials for the usual guys, just to be informed of what the community is working on. Thank you so much, Nancy. Back to you.
Okay, maybe if Mike and maybe Hilary, if you have something else to add, I don't close you out.
I think we've literally said almost actually it's everything. And Lawrence can talk for days, in case you don't know. So just beware. But from my side, I think we've spoken about everything, unless Mike has anything else to add.
Hilary Mike has said I talk on his behalf. Fortunately or unfortunately, Mike had just drop off. I think he's attending to an issue. But knowing Mike, he'll say he's very happy to be part of this, and he's looking forward to having you guys around. For guys who don't know, Mike was amongst the pioneers of, was it Top Ranks Hack the Box? He was amongst those guys who are always at the top. I think that's how I knew him. Like, this Ikua Mike is who? But essentially, what I've said is what Mike will have said. Nancy, I give that back to you.
Okay, thank you. So I'll just maybe echo some of the things that you have said. It's true, the community is growing, and I would also want to encourage, even if you're not in Nairobi, because I'll maybe reference the last bootcamp that SheHacks did, the InterVarsity Con, and students traveled like from Meru, from Kisumu, from all these places, and don't feel left out. We are working on something to like actually go beyond Nairobi. So for now, bear with us. Please just try and attend this meeting, these sessions. Like Lawrence has said, like Mike, like Hilary has said, you'll get to meet professionals, and there's something about meeting people who are in the field or have been in the field for a while. You also get to learn so much. Network when you show up. Don't look at you're a student, you're a beginner, you're not working and all that. No, network. All these people, the InfoSec community actually in Kenya is very friendly. So also be on the lookout as well. Like Lawrence has said, for this month we have the cybersecurity conference. I know we will also eventually have the Africa Hackon conference. We'll have Hackfest, which is like an annual cybersecurity conference by SheHacks. This will be, I think, will be like our 6th year to do it. So all that will be communicated in due time. So thank you so much for joining this call, for being part of this call. I'm sure You've learned so much, and you're looking forward to seeing you on the 16th at USIU. So thank you for making time. I think at this time, I'll just end the meeting. Thank you so much, Mike and Hilary and Lawrence. Thank you. Have a lovely night.
Thank you, everyone. Lovely night. Bye.
Hey, thanks, everyone.